Hey everybody, I'm Joey and today we're in Wichita, Kansas. There's nothing better than a warm steak on a cold day like today, and that's exactly what you're gonna learn about in this video. So follow me and let's meet America. Now I know most of you at home are used to seeing me in a t-shirt and hoodie, but today I'm at 6S Steakhouse, which is Wichita's premier destination for quality steaks. I'll introduce you to Chef Omar Bernal, who will show you how to make a great steak, a steakhouse quality steak, while also sharing some tips and tricks that you can use to turn up the tasty right at home. Not only is the food top shelf, but so is the ambiance. This is 6S Steakhouse. So we're here in the dry aging chamber of 6S Steakhouse. Chef, what are we looking at?
All right, so we're looking at a dry aged beef. So we have a selection of Kansas City strip, an American Snake River Wagyu, and then a bone-in ribeye. And of course, this baby is a tomahawk, which is a bigger version of the ribeye.
How long have these steaks been dry aging for?
So the Wagyu has now been hanging for about 90 days.
Okay.
So you'll get really of that nutty fungus kind of flavor to it. The strips hang for 28 days and the ribeyes for 28 days. That's a traditional dry aging. You can go 90, 120. Some people can go 420, right? So
wow,
it's like
yeah.
A big number, but it you know, the longer it hangs, the more profound flavor you get. I've always you know, done this for a very long time. People explain it like having grape juice or a glass of wine. You can get a good cut of meat. You know, grape juice isn't bad, it's sweet, it's good. But when you age it, such as a wine, you get that extravaganza of flavor that you don't get in grape juice. So this is what this does, right? It's a dry aging grape. It's a prime cut. You go for the best, and you get a great result at the end. What it does is dry aging. You're breaking down all the connective tissues, all the enzymes. So you're releasing all the moisture out of it. So in all reality, all you're having is a great piece of meat.
Yes.
You know, so it breaks down all the enzymes. Obviously, some take longer than others, but 28, you get that profound that you're looking for already.
Absolutely. So why does it have to be dry aged in this chamber and not, let's just say, your refrigerator?
This is a controlled environment. So the humidity here is 85, and then the temperature is from 34 to 41. So it's controlled. You see the fans, it's just about circulating air through it, so it can age properly. So what it is, it's a fungus growing around the cuts of meat, but they're releasing all the moisture out of it, which you just left with a great piece of cut of meat.
Beautiful. Now, are there specific types of cuts that are better for dry aging than others?
Well, traditionally you get the primal cuts, right? You get the ribeyes, you get the strip, which everybody goes for. You can get the chucks, you can dry age whatever cut of meat you want. But primal cuts such as this, you introduce just more flavor to it by doing this kind of process to it.
Up next, we're gonna see how Chef Omar cooks these steaks to perfection. Follow us. Join us for the Meet America podcast presented by Code 3 Spices as we meet experts and discuss incredible stories, business and life advice, meat, of course, and much, much more. Like a bunch of friends gathered around the grill, the meat brings us together, but the conversation will head in exciting directions. Are you ready for an adventure? Follow along every week as we meet America.
So we're cooking a bone-in 18-ounce ribeye. And then this is our 28-day dry-aged Kansas City strip. This is 18 ounce as well. So these both come from a local farm up in Ark City. A very small family, does well with the cattle and the beef and everything they do. They do it correctly, humanely. So we only source the prime cuts of meat. We don't go for anything less. Obviously, we'll see the outcome when we get to cooking.
Yeah, right on. So for everyone at home, can you tell us a little bit About the difference between choice and prime steak.
So a prime steak is, it's all depends on the cattle. So we have, there's a system, the USDA will mark it, but as you can see, the marbling will differ from a prime to a choice. So the more marbling you have, it's more of that fat content that it has throughout the beef and the cattle versus just a lean meat, which those typically go out for a choice or less than.
And as we say at Red Meat Lover, the fat is where it's at. That's where the steak gets a lot of its flavor, right?
100%.
Awesome. Okay, now that these are rested, what's next?
All right, now we get to season these. So I go with the fairly heavy salt. You have to introduce some flavor into this. So I pack it down, all the way through it.
What type of salt are you using?
It's a kosher salt. So this gets a little bit taste flavor than typical salt that you use at home. It's very too salty. This it doesn't go as salty as you would expect.
It's also not iodized, correct?
Yeah, correct. So then we also do the same thing with the pepper. Now the pepper, I typically like to do black pepper, white pepper, and pink peppercorn. So it's a little bit of the spice, the sweetness, a little bit of best of all the worlds,
So when does the steak go from light pepper seasoning to plavois?
So you would get a plate of pepper and you drench it in there.
Awesome.
Right, and then you would hear it in a hot either sizzle pan, cast iron pan, grill, where it's just gonna essentially caramelize the black peppercorns into the steak.
Okay.
Yeah. So this you'll have some caramelization, but it's not overpowering as well.
Beautiful. Now that we got it seasoned, what are we doing next?
All right, so let's take this to the grill. So what we have here is a dry aged, and then we have the bone-in ribeye. And this is why it's important to let the temperature of the meat stay out a little bit, because as you see it's burning. The fat content here, it's melting away onto this, it's just sizzling it away.
Right.
So it's just locking in all the flavors into the piece of meat.
So how long does it sit on this side before you flip?
So it's typically about 3-4 minutes. So what we'll do the diamond effect, so we hit both of it so you'll be able to see the char and the diamond going into it.
So we had about 30 seconds before you did the side flip to get those nice sear marks, right?
Right. And then we'll give it another 30 and then we'll just flip it over.
For people who are trying to cook steaks at home, is this something that they can achieve with their own Weber kettle grill?
Yeah, absolutely. As long as you let it heat up properly and don't be in a hurry, just cover it, let the fire do its thing, and then the rest is easy. All right, so then we bring it into the broiler.
All right.
So now this puppy is about 700 to 800 degrees.
Okay,
so
all right.
This is just, it's gonna broil it completely. If you could see the broil part, it's a circulation of heat, so it's just caramelizing and sizzling as you're sitting there.
Yep.
So you're just gonna let us do its thing. Each cut takes different times, so the ribeye can take anywhere from 5 to 6 minutes to medium rare or rare.
Right.
And then the bigger cut, which is no bone or whatnot, would take us about 10 to 12 minutes to be able to cook it properly. So we're basting our cuts of meat with a little bit of a red wine butter, which we make here in-house. So we baste it, so this is introducing a fat, but also introducing flavor to it.
Man, one thing you can really hear is the sizzle of that steak. You can really get some tremendous smells coming through here as that steak begins to caramelize and that red wine butter really begins to marinate the steak as it cooks.
And then we take it out, we baste it one more time, and we just let it rest.
Now this is always one of the hardest parts of the cooking process for me, because it comes out, it smells so good, and I'm ready to dig right in. So letting it rest, it's the hardest part.
Yeah, it is, because you just want to be in a hurry and eat a great steak,
right,
but it'll be better if you let it rest.
Okay,
yeah.
all right.
The outcome is way much better.
What do we got going on over here?
All right, so this is our signature cream corn. This is done by getting a good product from a local farm. What we do is we grill it, we chuck it, and then we throw it in with a little cream, a little spices, and then we add a little Parmesan. So if you could hand me Parmesan and butter.
Yes, chef.
There you go.
Talk to me about these carrots real quick.
All
These
right.
don't look like the carrots I buy at the store.
Absolutely not. So these heirloom carrots, heirloom introduces a lot of flavors into it. There's yellow, there's red. Throw it into this maple bourbon glaze that we do in-house. So we typically just get them, we glaze them. These have already been roasted in a little honey, olive oil, salt, pepper, and then the glaze is just to introduce it another flavor.
All right, check this out at home. This has been grilled, and you can see that on the corn. You get some of the nice caramelization, and we can kind of see the cream and the cheese, which has brought it all together. Right here, we have that Steakhouse classic, these Yukon Gold mashed potatoes. And here to round out the dish, we have some heirloom carrots which have been glazed and look absolutely tremendous. Here we have that 28-day dry-aged New York strip steak, and I can tell you at home that looks absolutely tremendous. Right over here, we have our ribeye steak. Let's cut in, let's see how it looks. First thing I notice is a crust on the exterior and a nice medium rare color right there. Let's see how it tastes. You can really taste that pepper coming through. The crust from the searing process gives it a nice contrast with the tenderness of the steak itself. And I can just tell you this steak is absolutely hypnotic. You can really tell that dry aging coming through, adding that bold, beefy flavor. Next, let's go ahead and check out this ribeye. And take a look at that at home. A nice medium rare color. Ribeye has a ton of fat, a ton of flavor, and as you hear me often say, that fat is where it's at. Wow. Again, it has that beautiful crust. That saltiness really comes through with that excellent crust on the exterior, tender on the inside, and you can really feel the depth of flavor from that prime steak versus a lesser cut. It's a fantastic steak, fantastic sides, at an incredible steakhouse. Look, if you're ever in Wichita, you need to stop by 6S. You won't leave disappointed. Chef Omar really knows how to turn up the tasty around here. And so much so, I'm gonna get back to my steak. I'll see you guys next time. If you want to make a great steak, a 6S quality steak right at home, just follow Chef Omar's direction. Start with a quality cut of beef. Use prime grade beef, or if you can find it, dry aged beef will turn up the tasty. Let your steak rest prior to cooking. Season your steak. Apply ample kosher salt and a blend of coarsely ground black, white, and pink peppercorns. Sear the steak on the grill for 30 to 60 seconds, then rotate and repeat to get diamond-shaped sear marks. Once you've seared one side, flip and repeat. Use indirect heat to finish the cook. In lieu of a broiler, you can use an oven heated to 500 degrees Fahrenheit. Marinate with compound butter as it cooks and again after it's done cooking. Once it reaches the desired doneness, let it rest for 5 to 10 minutes, depending upon the thickness of the steak. And here's today's tasty tip. Chef Omar is a seasoned pro who uses the feel method to cook steaks perfectly every single time. If you're just getting started or not comfortable with the field method, you can never go wrong with an instant read thermometer. Look, the next time you're in Wichita, you gotta roll into 6S Steakhouse to try some of Chef Omar's food. It's absolutely tremendous. These steaks are wonderful and you won't leave disappointed, whether you're just here for that happy hour, that very special date night, or an important business meeting. Also, if you like our video, you know the drill. Go ahead and hit that big thumbs up like button, or even better, subscribe to our channel so you can continue to follow our adventures as we introduce you to experts from around the country and we continue to meet America. I'll see you next time.